Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
Are they all here?
All but one.
Well, I'm going anyway. Let's talk about something important. Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only. You think I'm fucking with you? I am not fucking with you. I'm here from downtown. I'm here from Mitch and Murray. And I'm here on a mission of mercy. Your name's Levine. You call yourself a salesman, you son of a bitch?
Keep putting it out there. Yeah, it was huge for... I think about it like with the podcast I listen to. If the shit doesn't come out when it's supposed to, I get annoyed.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, what am I supposed to listen to now?
yeah. Exactly.
I always have a backup now. I got Audible.
Okay.
So I've been listening to It by Stephen King.
Okay.
And that is one of the longest fucking books I've ever seen in my life. I thought Game of Thrones was long. This is insanely long.
You know what? I've never done an Audible book before. I've heard, like, especially people that are in cars. Like, I don't know if you're in the car a lot.
Dude, I constantly have headphones in all day. In
Okay.
the drive in, drive home, and all day at work. So
Yeah,
I go
okay.
through a lot.
Yeah, because I've heard people talk about the audiobooks, but I've never actually...
Yeah, man, if you have the time, if you have the commutes, and even if, like, working or whatever,
Yeah.
it's 100% worth it.
Yeah.
Especially if, like, you know what, let's do a little intro here.
Okay,
Just because
do
we've
it
been
up.
going for, like, 10 minutes already.
There you go. Oh, you were recording all that?
Yeah, well, I want to check the levels
The
to make
level.
sure everything sounds good.
I did the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I let us ramble for a little bit, and then I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, by the way, we're live.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to APodAmongstMen. I'm your host, Steve B. I'm here with first-time guest, Mr. Cory Fandel.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I am doing fantastic, sir.
Awesome.
Fantastic, Dan.
There you go. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate it. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Thanks for coming by. You are a fellow podcast host yourself.
Yes, a little bit newer than you. I know you've been doing this a little bit longer as well too. So we're still the youngings right now. But yeah, the Perfected Podcast. Yeah, it's a fun little community like we were talking about that's starting to develop. So happy
Yeah.
to be a part of it now.
It's nice, man. It's us here. You got you guys, a Perfected Podcast. You got Mike Sweeney over at Keep It Basement. You got my phone going off when it's not supposed to. You know.
Of course, yeah.
It's nice though. It's all local guys. You know, we all
Yeah.
know each other,
Mhm.
so it's cool. I like the idea of like the camaraderie, like the community.
Yeah.
we help each other. We
Exactly.
do whatever we can. Even though, like I said, you guys are new still. You're still getting your feet wet, but you're doing the right thing. It looks like.
Yeah,
So I'm happy that you came by.
absolutely. I appreciate it, man.
But I did want to have you here for something a little different. We can get back in the podcast stuff
Okay.
later because
Yeah.
I could just ramble about that for hours.
You're right.
So I have you here because you are a realtor.
Yes, sir.
So this is something that I'm now going through currently. I've been through it before, but I'm doing it again. House hunting, selling a house. Anybody out there, you start to do some grown-up shit with your life. You want to go buy a house. You got a family, get married, whatever. This is one of the things that you're going to have to go through that's going to make you want to pull whatever hair you have left straight the fuck out of your head.
Yeah.
It can go easy,
Right.
but even easy can be a real pain in the ass.
Right. Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to it. And I know that there's a lot of guys, well, men and women, first of all. It's not all male listeners here. We got some ladies listening. What's up, Allison? Both of you out there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I feel like a lot of people, they get into it and they have no idea what they're doing. Next thing you know, they just get like a stack of papers to sign. And what was in there? I don't even know.
Right.
I have no idea. I could have just, pulled a Rumpelstiltskin and signed my firstborn away. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that we could kind of break down a few things, like the little ins and outs, like some pointers for guys. But I don't want to, let's do a little background about you,
Sure.
so people can get to know who you are.
Yeah.
So you're from Raritan. You're from this town.
Born and raised. I grew up in Raritan. My whole life, obviously, went to Bridgewater Raritan High School. Graduated 2008. Right after that, I spent a little bit of time in East Stroudsburg. From there, bounced over to.
Did you go to college out there?
I did, but it was only for about like 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was one of those things to where if I look back on it now, I wish I did things a little bit differently. To where even going to RV, doing some gen ed classes, just trying to figure out exactly what I was doing. But
I did it too.
I was in that time to where I was like, I just need to go somewhere just to kind of get out of this town. And I went to East Stroudsburg. I was there for like 3 months, and then I wound up dropping out of there and moving to Orlando to go to Full Sail University. I was there for about a year and a half, and then I moved to Hoboken, Lebanon, and then I'm back in Raritan now. So
That's quite a bounce, man.
oh yeah, it's been a journey. So
What'd you think of Orlando?
I mean, it was awesome. Everyone thinks when you hear Orlando, I'm sure with you too, you probably think, oh, Disney World. And that's exactly what I thought going down there as well. And even when I first went down there for my initial visit, where I stayed at and the school that I saw, the school that I went to, we shared the same University Boulevard as UCF.
Okay.
So the places that I saw were very family friendly, and everything was all cool and dandy. And you quickly learn that Orlando's a big town.
Yeah,
you know?
there's a lot more to it than people realize.
There's a lot more that's behind the walls of Disney World. So, but it was cool. It was a good experience. I mean, I had a lot of good experience down there. Just a lot of fun times. I was down there with some buddies and stuff. So it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So you're a bit of a jack of all trades. Like, you've done a lot of stuff. You've been in a lot of places. You've done a lot of things. You know, you're a musician for a minute. Mm-hmm. Like, you still doing anything? A
little bit. And I was gonna say I wouldn't say a jack of all trades. I've just done a couple different things here and there. But yeah, I mean, I grew up
man of many hats. I don't know what's the fucking saying.
Just a guy who does a lot of shit. Maybe
you did some things. You seen some shit.
So I started out, and even in the beginning, before high school, even in grade school, I fell in love with music and just kind of went a little bit more in depth in the process of making music and writing music, producing music, all these kind of things. And that just flowed into high school, did it throughout high school, got into DJing when I was maybe 11, 12 years old. My dad had Technique 1200 turntables and just started messing around with those things for a little bit. And just kind of just developed a love for the whole process of everything behind the scenes into music. And I know you're obviously... You have a little bit of a background in music as well, too.
I did. I got in late, though. I bought my first bass when I was 20.
Okay.
I bought it from, Drew.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to have to cut his last name out. Shit. But either way, Drew sold me my first bass.
Okay.
It was his. He sold it to me for $30.
There you go.
Because he was like, he's like, why don't you learn something? He knew how to play guitar since we were, just starting high school.
Right.
And he had a band for a minute. And I was like, man, that'd be so awesome. Because I grew up, I loved music. Music was everything to me.
Sure.
It's the glue that held everything together. Mm-hmm. And now he's like, well, listen, it's easy. I'll teach you how to read tabs. You learn a couple songs, practice. Like, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Okay. So it was like the end of summer. He sold me the bass. I'm like, all right. So I just sat in my room. I started reading tabs, learned to play like My Chemical Romance songs and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like the stuff I listened to at the time.
Yeah.
But I liked it, and I was like, okay, I can do it, and I just kept going. I was just grinding and grinding.
Sure.
I wasn't like I would go out, I would have the thing in my trunk, and if there was like downtime, I would just start playing.
Yeah.
Like with no amp or anything, just like a jerk off sitting there Dunkin' Donuts parking lot.
But it's a nice little release because you kind of fall into a different. I don't want to say like hemisphere and get all deep and stuff, but you fall into a different mind space when you get into music.
You gain a little perspective.
Yeah, and being able to balance those two was huge for me. And things that you're going through in your life, I feel like that's a great outlet to have to be able to kind of like, let me just give my mind a break from thinking about this crap for a little bit and then go back into here, You
can turn your mind off and let your body just do its thing.
Yeah.
It's similar to like going to the gym, I think.
Right.
It's a way you burn off some energy, use that negative energy and just channel it into something that's constructive.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but music. So you did music.
Yeah, so I was doing that for a while. That's actually what I went to Full Sail for, recording arts, entertainment business. And during that process, again, just making a lot of music, writing songs, producing songs, all that kind of stuff. Came back into when I moved back to Hoboken, I was still doing it and just actually starting to get into some professional studios and actually starting to work with some real producers and stuff, which is actually, an awesome experience. And just, life happened and things happened and I kind of got a perspective on things that were important and I felt like I had to give myself a realistic timeline to see if this was going to be not only lucrative but also be something to where I was going to be able to sustain and give the right amount of energy that it needed. You know, something like making it in the music business in general isn't something that you can do part-time or something, you know.
You got to be all in.
Overtime, exactly.
You can't half-ass that.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, oh man, how am I going to tell my boss I'm going to have to quit because we got signed?
Yeah. That we're going on a world tour in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Well, one of the bands I was in, actually, we were supposed to go on like a extended tour. I mean, it was small time shit, but we were supposed to go all throughout the Midwest. So,
Cool.
And I just got transferred to a new job, and there's a new foreman. And I listen, man, you know, I'm going to be out for like 2 weeks. Why? What are you going on vacation? Nah, my band's going on tour.
Yeah.
Oh, what kind of music is it? You wouldn't like it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But nah, man, that's cool. Like I love talking about music. I could just sit here and
absolutely
do that all fucking day.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, and you know, having my dad who had a background in DJing, and then falling in love with that, and then that was something that I was able to do and start. You know, I was DJing in clubs, and I was DJing for friends' private parties and all this kind of stuff. So I did the bar and the club thing for a long time, and then I was offered a position to where I was doing just private events, and I kind of liked that process a little bit more. And kind of fell out of love of the clubs and the bars only because it was a different,
Totally different vibe.
Different vibe, different crowd that was coming in at that point, and I wasn't connecting with it as much as doing some of these private events, and then just kind of took off on that lane.
So when did you make the jump to real estate?
Actually, it was during one of the weddings that I was doing. I was working with a guy, and I shout him out all the time, a guy, Jay. And Jay, at the time, was the top requested DJ at the company I was working with for weddings. Like, just requested, I mean, just had to turn down work because he was booked 2 years in advance, whatever the case is. And I know that he started with real estate prior to... obviously me starting, but he was in it for a couple of years, and he mentioned it here and there. He's like, you know, you should get into it. You should get into it. And I remember one day we were doing something, and this guy's DJing a wedding. He's going over to his other computer, finalizing an offer, sending this in, and I'm like, look, this fucking guy, like this is crazy.
People think he's going between
mixers.
Yeah,
no, but he's over here. Yeah, he's sending offers and talking to clients and stuff. And he said something to me. He's like, you should do it. And the next day I actually signed up. You had to go to real estate school. So I signed up for that, 2.5 weeks, banged that out, took the test, and then went from there, and then just joined Keller Williams, where I've been at since then.
So what do you think of it? Like, I know a lot of people that get into real estate, and I feel like I never see them ever again. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the Bermuda Triangle. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you have to dedicate so much time, and it's at such weird hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's no set schedule. You're all over the place.
Yeah, and I had an idea going in that it was going to be not your average 9 to 5. There was, you know, and the good thing is I had an idea on his end on what he did when he first started, and I kind of implemented that plan, and then just added a couple of my own things that I thought were going to be, you know, good for myself, and just added my own personality to it, and then just kind of went from there. I wasn't expecting that I was going to be doing, actually, that's a lie. I was expecting a little bit more than my first year, thinking like, like, all I have to do is just tell a couple of people and they'll refer me, but it's like, you have to be constantly in front of people to where, I've said this before, like, it's just him saying that, you know, you have to start becoming like the obvious choice to whatever it is that you're doing. So real estate being this, it's like, you got to constantly keep being out there to be that choice.
It's weird. It's one of those things where you can't be like kind of like downplayed, or like you have to be big in someone's face.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to be like, you can't be ignored. Like you said, it's
right.
It's a weird thing because it's not natural for everybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you think that there's like you could spot someone who would be a good realtor? There's there qualities about a person that would suit them to that job?
Yeah, I met a lot of, now being in the business for a couple of years, like I've met a lot of different realtors to where I meet someone, I'm like, how are you still doing this job? Just based off of communication wise, you know, but a lot of the times when I meet somebody who is very personable, is able to just have like a very natural conversation, and then also just kind of just has like that energy about them, I'm like, you know, maybe they would be a good fit. Maybe they would be someone who can just work with people. Because the main thing that I try to do is I try to make everyone that I'm working with feel comfortable. Like that's the first thing, just like getting like that guard down, because like you said, I mean, it's one of the biggest purchases of someone's life. And
Yeah.
once,
It's like the biggest,
yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah. And I realized extremely quick that once you start working with other people's finances, it's a very thin
Delicate.
line of joking around / like things can go very south extremely quickly depending on the scenario and what's going on and stuff. So just taking all that into consideration, doing the right thing, and just making sure that you're doing as much as you possibly can.
Since you said that, like, people get very sensitive and they're very protective. Obviously, it's their finances, and it's, like you said, the biggest purchase of their life. That's actually specifically one of the reasons why I did not want to work with a realtor that I knew personally.
Right.
Because I was like, if anything goes even like weird or sideways a little bit, like, I want to be able to tell someone to go fuck themselves.
Sure, yeah.
And not have to worry about losing a friend over it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And and it's funny too, because like I've had that a couple of times. So we're just like we talked about, like that comfort. If it gets to a point, like certain people just don't have they don't have like that comfort, only because, just like you said, they're maybe too comfortable with somebody, or they're to a point to where, like, if you're in a friend relationship, whatever the case is, it's to where it's like, well, I have to hold back a little bit and I have to do this. But this whole process isn't something that people are supposed to hold back on. They're supposed to be able to speak as freely as possible.
Yeah. That's one of the things, man. I don't ask enough questions when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
They just put shit in front of me. Like, okay, I'll sign
Sure, yep.
here. All right, yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. And then people are like, well, so do you remember when you signed this? No.
Yeah.
No, not even a little bit.
Right. No, never saw that in my life. But
My wife gets mad because, like, the stuff, it'll get emailed to me. I'll sign the forms, and then it goes straight to her so she can sign the forms.
Right.
And she's like, he literally just emailed that to us, and you signed all 8 pages already? Was that wrong?
Right, yeah.
She's like, you didn't even read it. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I was hoping you would.
Yeah, no, and I'll be honest, there's a lot of standard paperwork, and I try to, again, everything's e-signature now, unless I have worked with people to where I had to print everything out, go and meet them, have it all signed, scanned in, all that stuff. But
Shout out to DocuSign. That shit is
absolutely,
amazing.
yeah. But sure, yeah, I mean, there's times where I try to at least explain everything how it's supposed to be, especially the contracts and the offers and things like that. I try to at least be as thorough as possible, so they do know, again, kind of what they're signing a little bit.
It'd be nice. I feel like a lot of times, like, for some people, even if it's not even their first time buying a house, just to kind of like, hey, I'll stop by if on this day I'll run through everything that's in there.
Sure.
Before, so you know.
Yeah.
And I find that, I don't know, that seems uncommon.
Right.
With realtors. I feel like, the nature of the business is you have to hustle to make money.
Yeah.
So you might have a bunch of clients at one time, and it's hard to really give that much time to any one client,
Yeah.
So, but it's also tough if you're the client and you have all these questions, and it's sometimes you get a realtor where you can't even get in touch with the fucking person.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I mean, that's probably, it's not my personal approach, because like you were saying, like I feel like I do hustle very hard and work as hard as I possibly can. And it's a difference for me because I'm not that pushy sale. I've never been like a salesperson. Yeah. So I'm not one to where if these people even have like a little bit of doubt in their mind, I'll run through the scenarios with them just so they're comfortable. And when it comes down to numbers, like, it's somebody else's money. So I always say, whatever you're comfortable with, but here are the scenarios for X, Y, and Z, what could possibly happen. And then just, they make the ultimate decision, because I'm never like, hey, listen, we got to go in at this. And because then at the end of the day, they're going to be like, well, you're the one that told us this, you're the one that.
You don't want them to turn it around on you.
Yeah, right.
You did this to us.
Yeah, exactly. So
my wife's out on the street now because of you.
Yeah. Yep. And
I don't need this shit in my life. All right.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I've realized it quickly that I had to try and be as transparent in those situations as possible. Yeah.
I think that one of the best things, like we were just saying, is just give people a little soft guidance, just a little suggestion, a little something here. Hey, just be on the lookout for X, Y, Z.
Right.
Do you find like some red flags with realtors, like stuff you'll see, like they might do something like, whoa, what the fuck is up with this guy? Like, this is not, like, you know what I mean? Like, some things people do, you just tell right off the bat, like, this guy's not legit, or he's trying to pull some funny business here. Like, do you find anything like that often, or is that just like someone's worst nightmare?
I've had it before, and I've dealt with it, with it before. And again, there's some people out there, and I get it. Like, there's some realtors that maybe they're newer, maybe they've been doing this for a very long time, to where, like we just said, like, they're all about their business. So it's very, very cut and dry with responses. And again, I'm personable, so hey, what's going on, this and this, and I just try and at least let like some of my personality shine through with it, and then I catch their vibe, and I'm like, all right, they're all business, so let me kind of tone this back in and just talk the way that I need to talk, with these people. But I mean, as far as red flags, I've had it to where, they're not, I don't want to say honest, but maybe there's not a lot of the information that they may have that are conveyed, and then it just prolongs everything.
Yeah,
because one way or another, I'm a firm believer in it, that it'll come out it'll shine through no matter what. It's just depending on what process we're in that it's going to.
Yeah, it just sucks if you're the buyer and you buy a house and you didn't know, a piece of information, and now you've closed already, you get in the house. Well, what the fuck is this?
Exactly. And there's been a couple of situations to where, again, it was a learning process. It's things to where it's a job that they can't give you a packet and say, here's what to expect and here's how you handle this. And yeah, there's scripts, but I've never used any of the scripts, only because I just felt like they weren't my style. I couldn't be like, oh, well, hold on, and then just go into like script mode or something like that.
I feel like if you're in this kind of business, if you're the kind of person who needs a script, like, you're probably not cut out for it. You know?
And
it's like but it is kind of sales to an extent, but it's not like selling a car.
Right.
But like, you hear about car salesmen, like, here we have these bullet points, these talking points, just use these. Just like, that's it. Like, you need to know how to talk and flow with people and say that shit. Otherwise, people are just going to walk out on you left and right.
Yeah. I agree 100%, because I feel like, and this kind of goes back to what we're talking about with Jay, who was the guy that kind of like guided me into it. I don't think he ever used scripts, but just hearing him talk and like the way that he was talking about things, it was almost like he just developed his own script. Because if you're that good at just talking and just being with people and just trying to be that person that this person needs as far as real estate, whatever the case is, you'll have the things that a script is going to give you, just in your own, in your own way, however it's conveyed. Like, it's going to come across. Yeah. Whether it's, someone reading off a piece of paper, or you just kind of just talking naturally to whatever they need.
Yeah, it's meant to be there so you can internalize it and then put it out in your own words.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of just reading like a fucking half a Momo,
Yeah, and even with you too. I mean, with you doing the podcast and everything, I'm sure.
Yeah, I got him here.
Yeah,
you could just tell all my secrets. That's fine, bro. Go right ahead.
No, but like, even I had the same thing, to where even having like an idea of what to go to, and once you have a conversation once, and then that issue comes up again, it's easy for your brain. Like, your brain kind of goes into like, oh, like, we talked about this already. Here you go. And like, it's that. So there's been even my first 2 years of doing real estate, when I was faced with the question that I didn't know the answer, I did what I would hope a lot of people would do, is that I was like, you know what, I'm not sure about that. Let me get right back to you. I would go call Jay or call my broker manager, whoever it is, and then kind of get those answers, instead of like, let me just bullshit these people to make it seem like I know what I'm talking about, and then I'm going to get myself in a lot more trouble down the road.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common mistake people make in like so many different aspects of life in general, where it's, if you, instead of just being honest, instead of being honest about what you don't know,
right,
you try to bullshit somebody, try to make something up on the fly, and you end up getting yourself, like you said, into more trouble in the end.
Yeah.
Like, just, I was like, you know what? I don't know. Let me find out for you.
Yeah. I would say, that's a good question. So hold on a second. Let me find out, instead of just, like we said, just bullshit. And the next thing you know, it's like, what the hell did I just say to these people? Like, trying to keep up with like what you're saying yourself.
Well, it's that old saying. It's like, he who asks a question is a fool for a moment. He who never asks is a fool for a lifetime.
I like that. I never heard that, but maybe that was
that right there. The lights flickering. That's the ghost. It only does that when I have the podcast going on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Never does it during dinner.
Does that mean that they like it then, or they're just listening in?
I think that just means you got the okay. Like, you can stay, so we can keep going.
Perfect. I appreciate it.
And we're back. Sorry, guys. I had to get a refill. Had to keep everything lubricated, hydrated. You know how it is.
Another White Claw, like you were just...
Listen, you're trying to throw me under the bus. No, I have seltzer. It's lime-flavored seltzer.
There you go.
It's the old vintage. This is for when, you're trying to diet, you want to go out and drink, but you gotta You got to watch the calories.
I'm with you.
Just get some of this and Tito's.
That's it.
Throw a couple limes in there.
That's all I drink is Vodka Club and with a lime.
I started doing gin mules. Or a gin mule.
Okay.
Is the actual term. It's just gin, ginger beer, a little bit of lime juice, and mint.
You know what it is? Because my girlfriend makes fun of me because that's kind of all I drink. And Moscow Mule.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing, just with vodka instead of gin.
You know what it was? Is because I did both of them too. I think it was the ginger beer that I just, for some reason, it just didn't.
It's bad ginger beer.
That's what it was.
Gosling's is the only game in town when it comes to ginger beer.
Okay.
You can get it at a shop right. It's Gosling's ginger beer. They make dark rum too. That same brand. But that's really the only ones that's any good. Okay. That's in my experience, because I've got some ginger beer that tastes like fucking ass.
Yeah.
And it just ruins the whole drink.
And you want to know what it was? It was my first one that I ever had of those. So after that, like, my whole mindset going into those Moscow Mules has just been bad. I'm like, I had one that sucked. So
listen, here's what we're gonna do. When I come over to do your show, I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna make it myself. I'm gonna have it pre-mixed. I'm gonna change your life. All right?
Perfect. I'm excited because I'll be honest with you, I'm looking for a new drink too. Because after a while, Vodka Club with a lime is like, it does get a little bland.
You want to know what you do? Tapestry in Somerville.
Okay.
And go in there either Friday, Saturday night, and talk to Colin. I don't know if you might know Colin. Like he hung out with our group for like forever.
Okay.
He's one of our good friends. Big beard, real nice dude, but he's a whiz. He's actually been on the show too.
Cool.
He's a whiz back behind the bar.
Gotcha.
Like, it's amazing. You just tell him, like, listen, I don't know what I want. I know I want to drink, vodka. Mm-hmm. What can you do for me? Just surprise me. Make something you think is cool. Okay. And I'll tell you if I like it. And I've never been disappointed that way.
I was with my girlfriend this past weekend. She lives in PA, in Yardley, PA. And we went to this place called like the Cellar. It was like a real small place. Cool, cool vibe and all. And I went up to the guy and I was like, yeah, just give me a Vodka Club with a lime. And he's like, no, I'm not making that for you. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what? He's like,
I said, that's what I want.
Yeah. And he was like, no, check out this menu, this and this. So there was these two older women. They were a little bit tipsy at the bar, and they go, make him one of these, And I'm like, all right, it was getting to a point to where everyone was getting involved. So I was like, just make me whatever these ladies are talking about, so they shut the fuck up. And he made something for me, gave it to me, and I took a sip of it. I was like, this is terrible. It had like jalapeno juice and all these other kind of things. My girlfriend drank it, but I was like, yeah, I'm not drinking this. I'm gonna go with it.
It's another good one. So I'm not really a whiskey or a bourbon guy.
Yeah.
But they make something I also got at Tapestry. It's called a bourbon cherry sling. And the key to it is you got to use good bourbon. Okay. Like Woodford Reserve. It's a little more high end. Yeah. But it's like a great flavor. And for somebody who doesn't like bourbon, it's perfect. So you get that, some black cherry or just cherry juice, like natural cherry juice, like not sweetened. Right. And then you just put in a half a shot of lime juice, half a shot of simple syrup. You're done.
Good to go. Were you a bartender once too, or
no? But the thing is, I
drink a lot.
Yeah. No, I don't. I really don't. I mean, we were drinking last night for the other recording, but
yeah.
I know what I like, and I wanted to learn how to make it the same way they did.
I got you.
So that's why I know the recipe.
Sure. Yeah.
But all right. So yeah, I'm not a drunk. Just for anyone out there listening, there are episodes where I am a little tipsy.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Not many, thankfully.
Yeah.
I got to keep my wits about me here. This is going out on the internet.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to pull this up, 10 years from now. I'm going to get kicked off directed a movie or something.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at people, like just say we're just like people watching somewhere, but you, for whatever, in this scenario, you could see everything about a person, finances, job history, and all that stuff. What do you think is a good scenario when a person's ready to buy a house? Like, what are some things that you look for in potential buyers where you think, all right, these people are serious, these people, they can actually do it, everything's not going to fall apart halfway through the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for me, looking individually wise, well, first, obviously the biggest things is when you have someone either that just got married, or you have someone who's getting married or in a relationship, or if they're just having kids, they're expanding a family, they need a bigger area or whatever. Those are always key signs to where it's like, okay, these people are ready to buy. I've been in the situation to where people who aren't in relationships and coming as like an individual coming to me and saying like, I'm thinking about buying, and will, maybe they're a little bit nervous to go to that financial step, so they're kind of bouncing some stuff off of me. And I would just say, hey, listen, maybe you're not in the position that you're going to be able to take on something like this, and then with the expenses, and kind of give them some guidance on fixing up some things credit wise, and here talk to this guy who I've worked with before for that kind of stuff. But I mean, telltale signs are those people that are in those situations to where they're normally in a relationship, they have a family, they've run out of room, and they've run out of space. That's not my ideal, but that's the ideal situation to where these families are expanding and just need more room.
Yeah, that way they're already established as a family. Right. They're motivated to buy.
Exactly.
Because they actually have a necessity.
Exactly. And they come to me knowing the locations that they want to be in, because they've already looked into the schooling district, and that plays a key factor on where they want to be. They have an idea mindset wise, because I've worked with people to where I've showed them 3 houses, and then they bought, and then I've worked with people where I've showed them 50 houses, and then we've landed on it. So
this was the second house I saw.
Okay. So. Awesome. Yeah, exactly. So, and listen, I always tell people it's a process. So it's not to, we're learning as we're going, and it's not to where, hey, listen, after we see this amount of houses, then I'm only showing you. No, I'll show you 1,000 houses if I have to. But the people that seem to kind of already have, okay, this is the area we definitely want to be in. We like these styles. We need A, B, and C in the house, and then let's go from there. And then it works out that way.
Let me just, for my own curiosity,
Yeah.
do you, as a realtor, do you have access to, to the information about houses being on the market that may not be like on Zillow or Trulia or one of those sites? Like, do you have some secret realtor?
Well, I mean, yes and no. So Zillow and the Trulia and those kind of things, like the biggest problem that I run into those with, especially with buyers, is that sometimes they don't update the way that the MLS, which is the multiple listing system, is updating. So I'll have buyers send me properties that are already in attorney review, or they're already under contract, or whatever the case is.
Bro,
so
that's happened to me like 5 times
yeah,
already.
And that's the biggest problem with that. When it comes to homes being listed prior to them being out there, that's kind of me just developing a network of realtors that I've worked with. So I get those coming soon emails. So I kind of know something that is coming to the area, a couple days prior to it, and that there's a whole thing that goes into that to be able to market that way. But just even through my office, just getting an idea on when these houses are coming to the market, and then if I have a buyer that may be interested, and then just kind of going from there.
No, yeah, that's one of the things, like you said, like people don't update it, fast enough, or they don't. I find so many houses that are they're like already out of attorney review, under contract. They just got the inspection done. Just still says for sale.
Yep.
And I'm like, I want to come see this fucking thing. There's practically somebody living in it
Yeah,
already.
yeah, and they're closing in a couple of days.
That's such a pain in the ass.
I've had that happen, and it just sucks because the buyers get so let down, and on my end, there's only so much that I can do besides just saying, hey, listen, yeah, they didn't update it, so
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, like I said, just in the past couple weeks, it's happened.
Yeah.
There's a house I'm looking at right now. It's not too far, right down 22 in Greenbrook.
Mm-hmm.
And it still says for sale, but it's like under contract right now.
Right.
So I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Every time I scroll through Zillow, you're giving me false hope here.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yep.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
What do you think is something that surprises a lot of home buyers, like especially first-time home buyers? Because I feel like there's always something that comes through along like midway or somewhere along the line, and it's just like people get. It like knocks the wind out of you a little bit.
Sure.
Like, what the fuck was this? Like nobody told me this was gonna happen.
I think the thing that comes up, and especially for first-time home buyers, is the whole idea of taxes. And a lot of the times people will see a house, $250,000, $300,000, $350,000. Oh, cool. Let me calculate what that's going to be over 30 years. And it's like, yeah, you're missing that extra $10,000 a year, $9,000 a year for taxes. And then also, if they're not putting 20% down, then they're having to pay the insurance on it, and that factors a role into it. So
yeah, PMI always surprises people. I feel like.
I think between PMI, not so much, because I work with a lot of great lenders that will go through that process. And again, a lot of the lenders that I work with want to know the taxes on the houses that we're offering on, just so they can do their pricing breakdown estimates based on actually what it's going to be. But for buyers that are coming to me just like fresh off of Zillow and stuff like that, they don't even realize that this extra expense is getting calculated into their
Actually,
payments.
if you could you explain what PMI is for anybody listening who doesn't know?
It's basically like an insurance blanket for a lender. So if you're putting less than 20% down into the home, so you're going into a home and you don't have that conventional loan to where you're already putting 20% equity into the home, it's just insurance for the lender just in case you default on the loan itself and payments. So basically, if that's like an FHA loan or a loan, whatever it is, less than 20%, once you reach 20% equity in the home, then that PMI goes away. And it's a payment that you're making basically for that insurance on the loan for not having 20% equity.
Yeah, usually it's not that bad, I feel like.
No, it's really, and it varies, and there's a bunch of things that it varies on, but it's really not terrible. And it's something to where, again, if you're working with the right lender, they'll be able to really explain your best scenario and what will, work obviously best for you. Because I actually, it's funny because I just did a couple of videos with a lender that I work with. Her name's Kathy. And the video that I'm putting out tomorrow talks about the minimum amount to have put down on a loan and PMI and all that kind of stuff too. So it's something that people should definitely know, going into it.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about the videos? I've seen them now, like this lady Kathy you just mentioned. I've seen the videos. Like, describe to the listeners what exactly it is, and plug it.
Yeah, well, what I try to do is I try to make, again, and that's kind of like my whole guideline for how I try to operate, is I try to make them as personable as possible. So just like we're doing right now, I had it to where I reached out to her name's Kathy from Atlantic Home Loans. I've done some business with her, and I just basically said, hey, listen, I worked with a lot of buyers in, I think it was 2018 or 2007, 2018, that I asked all the buyers that I worked with a question that they wish they had known prior to starting the mortgage process. And I kind of condensed them into 5 questions. And then I just sat with her, had a 10-minute conversation, and then I'm breaking down those 5 questions into videos. So I try to make it as knowledgeable as possible, but without it being like a school lesson to where it's like boring. Not that, hey, listen, if you're not looking into the real estate field, if you're not looking for a house, if you're not having questions on mortgages, they're probably not going to be for you. But if you're even a little bit interested in it, you can probably learn something you definitely can learn something from each one of the videos that
I think that's the kind of shit everybody needs to at least know a little bit about. Like, I mean, not everybody's going to own a house. I get it.
Right.
But like, it's useful to know.
Yeah.
Like, you never know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I live in the city, okay, but I want to buy something one day.
Right.
What happens if you hit the lottery all of a sudden?
Yeah.
You don't want to buy property.
Right.
And then you're really going to get taken advantage of. You're some idiot with fucking $1 million in the bank.
Right, yeah.
They're going to hit you over the head.
Exactly.
What's a common thing I've heard people ask is, like, what's the difference between a buyer's market and a seller's market? Like, how does that concept, what does that concept even mean?
I mean, there's a whole bunch of calculations and graphs that you can go along with it. The easiest way that I see it, and even for myself, is when
dumb it down.
Yeah.
Dumb it down.
No
offense to any listeners,
of course,
but let's make it digestible.
When it's a seller's market, that means that there's less inventory that they have to compete with, and there's more buyers out there looking to buy. So that means that the best case scenario is if you list your home at the right price with all these buyers that are looking, you're hopefully going to either get full price asking, or you're going to get into a bidding war, or maybe go above it, whatever the scenario is. For a buyer's market, it's just the opposite. It's that there's more inventory out there, and there's less buyers that are looking in that particular time. So that goes on to days on market. So a lot of the times for a buyer's market, you'll see that there's a higher days on market, and that's just the amount of time that a house has been out there, trying to be sold. So once that goes up a little bit, and then like the leverage on the seller kind of goes down a little bit, because it's like, hey, listen, you've been on for X amount of days, so and then that's where negotiations come into play. But
it's basic supply and demand.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
Somerville is definitely right now a seller's market.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of areas right now is a seller's market, just based on what's going on and how things have been moving. Even for you, how long was yours on the market for?
Shit, I think we first listed it in June.
Okay.
So we had a couple offers at, like, in July, I think it was in August. We had 2 offers come in on the same day after like over a month of nothing.
It's crazy how it happens, yeah.
And then we accepted one, so we were, went into attorney review, came out, we're under contract, and then the buyers came back. We want to, just make an amendment to the contract. We're going to change something. So, okay. So now we basically have to go back into attorney review.
Mm-hmm.
And then while it was in there, then they're like, you know what? We're backing out.
Mm.
So then we lost that deal. I was like, all right, great.
Right.
But then luckily, it was only like 2 or 3 weeks before the next offer came in.
Gotcha.
And they were pretty motivated. So
That's
that made
awesome.
it nice and easy.
Yeah. And it's crazy, too, because when I first started, I'm OCD with things.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'm very, not controlling, but I try to be, to whatever I can control, I try to have like a good grasp on it. And I just realized my first like couple of months in real estate where I was like, I can't be like that with this, because I think I read for every what was it? For every one good set of news that you get in real estate, you get like 25 that bad ones that come along with it. And it's very true. And it's just things that happen, and you're working with so many different people and personalities. And then sometimes you have it to where the attorneys just want to like, fluff their feathers at each other and then just try and just be who's the one that's going to be more dominant in this attorney transaction.
Yeah.
And then it's like, again, working with certain with certain agents, it's like, listen, like, I'm pretty sure we're all trying to do the same thing here. You're trying to sell it, we're trying to buy it. So let's try to make this happen.
Yeah, we should be natural allies.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But it doesn't always work that way. So
we had that with the house that we just put an offer in on today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the realtor, you can't get a hold of her.
Right.
We called her for days.
Oh, that's another thing too.
Days.
Yeah.
Like, don't you want to sell this fucking joint?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to buy it. Take my money.
Yeah.
Like,
and I just feel bad for the people that they're representing, to where I've had that multiple times where I try to set up a showing and then I hear back 3 days later and I'm like, where were you? You know, what's going on? Like, it's crazy to me. So
yeah, I've had that happen at a couple of houses. They just never got back to us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so is it still for sale? I mean,
right. And I get the same thing from the buyers. Are like, so what's going on? It's like, I have no idea. I was like, I wish I could. I wish I could let you know, but these people aren't responding.
It
to me.
sucks too, because you want to get mad at somebody and you
Right,
know it's
yeah.
not your realtor's fault.
Right. Exactly.
At least you hope they're being honest with you.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you find any like weird stuff going through like showings on houses? Like, you're like walking to a house and like somebody actually ends up being there.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is like, yeah, definitely. I've definitely had it to where there's been one time in particular where I actually scared the shit out of me, was that I do the same thing. I'll ring the doorbell a couple of times. I'll knock on the door just in case the doorbell's broken. And then once I'm actually, obviously all these appointments are confirmed ahead of time. So then when I walk in, first thing I do is I'm, hello, Cory, whatever, Keller Williams, just kind of announce myself. Going through this one place, I think we were in maybe Bridgewater, up in like in the mountains or something like that. And going through this one place and literally walked into a room. And again, like when doors are shut, it's the worst in houses now. So like I always try and knock before going in. Knocked, opened the door, nothing. Like the thing was pitch dark. I turned the light on. Guy's just passed out in his bed, just sleeping. And the best part is I spoke with the agent later on too. But the best part is like he didn't even wake up throughout the entire thing, and I'm like, it was just so awkward. And then we made it. I literally, we left the room. I had to get out of the house. I had to call the agent up. The agent's like, oh, it's fine. It's this person, that person. I'm like, little
no, it's not fine.
Little heads up would have been
Yeah.
good. Yeah, because But and then I mean, weird things. I mean, anytime you go into a foreclosure or bank going, you have no idea what you're gonna see.
I always worry about. I don't even look at the foreclosures it's just. I feel like I'm gonna walk in. There's gonna be shit all over the walls and destroyed. Even though I'm sure it's not really like that usually.
Yeah, there's some that aren't too bad, but then there's some that I'm like, damn, these are pretty. They might need a little bit more elbow grease than some others.
Yeah, I saw a couple houses, like not even foreclosures,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at the pictures. I'm like, bro, this place is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Like on the outside, it looks nice, and
Right.
you go inside, like, what the fuck happened here? Was it like Project X happened at this house?
Yeah.
Like a giant house party where the kids destroyed it, because it looks fine outside.
Yeah.
And I'm walking into like the haunted mansion all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me too. Even on my listings is the pictures, and I see some because I'm working with a bunch of buyers, so I'll look. I have myself CC'd on all their automatic emails, which I'm sure you probably get the same thing. So I'll look through just in case my buyers miss anything every single morning. And like I'm like a stickler for pictures. Like if pictures are, it's just crazy because that's the main line of communication between the house and these potential buyers.
Yeah,
is
it's
just
going to
seeing
get
pictures.
people in.
Yeah,
it's going to get traffic.
and
going
there's
through.
some that you see, and there's people in the pictures, and there's like the beds like just simple things. It's
Yeah,
like
you see Grandpa in the shower in the background.
yeah.
Brother, we got lucky. They did like dope ass pictures for this house.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was a cloudy day out, and all of a sudden on the picture it's nice and blue.
Right.
So how the fuck did you do that, man?
Right, yeah.
Everything, like the grass looks perfect.
Exactly.
It really makes the paint on the walls pop.
Yep.
So there's a lot to be said for, you know, just give your house a good solid cleaning.
Yep.
Put the fucking dirty clothes away.
Yeah.
Have a professional photographer come in. I think, well, I mean, as a realtor, I'm sure you probably have somebody who does legit photos.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. I have a good team of people now that, like, for listing wise, like, we can get a home like pictured and listed if it obviously there's not a ton of work to be done, like within like 2 days, you know. But yeah, there's a whole checklist to go through just to make sure the home is prepped, because I mean there's been times where I'm moving stuff from room to room in like a circle just to make sure that this room is clean. It's like, all right, now let's move all this shit into this room so this room is good. And then, but you get it though. People that are living in those homes, and if they have kids, whatever the case is, it's like, listen, there's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I know for me, I only have one child that's with me, and I can't keep my house clean for 15 minutes.
Tell me about it, bro.
Having more than one, it's like I get it. I get that there's life happens. You know,
Bro, it's been it's such a pain in the ass because we actually had so many showings of this house, and it's not just me. You know, it's
Right.
me, my wife, my son, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and the dog.
Right.
All have to get up and get the fuck out of the house for
Right.
at least a half an hour at a time. And it's like, you know, you're happy people want to come look at it, but after a while, it's like, you know, just buy the fucking thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you saw the pictures, you know what it looks like.
yeah.
You get frustrated.
I'll do a little FaceTime with you, and I'll show you
Yeah.
around the house real quick.
Can I just walk you around? Like,
Yeah.
Do I have to leave?
Yeah.
Because it sucks too with the dog. Like, I can't just go to a restaurant.
Right.
Like the one realtor told us, like, oh yeah, you're just gonna be going out to eat a lot. Like, no, we ain't.
Yeah, exactly.
We're sitting in the car a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
looking at Instagram, waiting for these people to leave the house.
Yep.
You have to like go down the street and just watch from a distance so they don't get like uncomfortable.
Yeah,
that you're-
weird about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, yeah, those stories are endless on how those kind of things happen. Yeah.
Man, it became like really frustrating too, because it's like for the first month and a half almost, it's like we had all these showings and nobody was making an offer. I was like, what? Am I missing something?
Right.
Like, is there like a dead body somewhere we forgot to clean up or something?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
It was starting to take the wind out of my sails.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they just came in.
Yep.
We had like 3 open houses here.
Really?
We had 2 before the first offers came in.
Okay.
And then after that fell through, we had to have another one.
Right.
And then pretty soon after that, we got another offer.
Yeah.
So we were pretty lucky.
Yeah.
So you haven't had, like, I mean, aside from somebody being in the house, there hasn't been any other craziness you've seen?
I mean, there's been times where, you know, maybe the sellers are going through a divorce, and that doesn't make anything pleasant going there. Anytime that, just like you were talking about leaving, I always try and urge my sellers to leave, because number one, it's going to be uncomfortable for anybody if not only the sellers there, then the buyers are there, and it's like you can't talk about things. You can't be like,
Yeah.
damn, like, who does wallpaper still, or who, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just, you know, speak freely on what you're going to want to do, because you don't want to offend the person that's selling it.
Who did the trim in this room? Stevie Wonder?
Yeah, exactly. You know,
And some guys on the couch. Oh, who are you talking? You got to fight the guy.
Yeah.
You know, his wife jumps on your back. The kids are screaming. It's a whole thing.
yeah, exactly.
I just want to buy the house. I don't need this.
Right. But things like
That's
that.
never happened to me. You know.
Right, yeah.
Just for the listeners out there.
You're not speaking from experience.
Yeah.
But you know, stuff like that. Things like that just involve just awkward situations, and then just me being like the one just trying to make things as non-awkward as possible. You know.
There was you ever heard of the comedian Patton Oswalt? He used to be on King of Queens.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was the short friend.
Yeah.
Spence, I think.
Yep.
He he had a bit where he was telling a story about him and his wife were going house hunting, and they had an appointment for a showing. It was on like a Sunday morning, and they get to the house, and it was clearly like there was nobody supposed to be there, but the owners didn't get the memo, and somebody opened the door, and it like turned out there was like an orgy at the house that day, and like nobody realized.
That's freaking
He's like, all of a
amazing.
sudden this wave of just nut fog came out.
Yeah.
I always imagined, like, I've had situations. We went to we had a hotel room, so it was in Miami. We were in Brickell. I'm not going to say the name of the hotel, but maybe, you know, I get a sponsor one day. I don't want to upset nobody.
Exactly.
But yeah, they gave us a room. All right, you know, go upstairs to your whatever number. We get there. I put the key in the door, open it up, and the lights are off, but the TV is on, and I see a suitcase And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I walk in a little bit, and then I see like bare feet on the bed. Like, nope.
Yep.
Just walk right out. And I was like, I gotta imagine like there's somebody out there who's got some fucking crazy story. Like,
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like just because that can happen to anybody,
Right.
something like that.
More so on my end. I think I probably have had some good stories on the selling end. The only thing is, if I tell them, it's the seller will know who I'm talking
really?
about. More
Is
so
that
than,
obvious?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then more so than on the opposite end of a buyer to where I've been working with to where it wasn't our issue.
No,
at
this
all.
is your business. We don't want to fuck up your reputation here.
Yeah. I'll be getting some phone calls like, oh, that's pretty funny that you told that story about this and this. And it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because our old clients from Sycamore Street felt differently.
yeah.
There's another comedian. The guy passed away now. His name was Robert Schimmel, and he had a bit. Same thing, like I was saying. He got to a hotel room, and he walked in, and there was a guy in there on the bed. He opened the door and walked in and saw the guy, and the guy's like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, shit, and he, like, ran out.
Yeah.
So and he was thinking, like, what if that, like, I could just imagine, like, what if that guy had, like, called up some weird, freaky escort service?
Right.
And he was like, and we wanted, like, a man to come in, and he's like, oh, he's going to come in, and I'm going to grab him and throw him and fuck him right on the floor. And he's like, what if that was a thing? He's like,
Right.
and he's got to act like he doesn't want it to happen.
yeah. Wow, yeah, that's funny.
So I could just imagine, like, man, he's going to call that same escort company next week. Oh, send the same guy.
Yeah, right.
He was so good, he ran out, didn't even get a chance to pay him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm sure if that had happened to anybody you wouldn't want to share that.
Yeah, something like that, sure.
Yeah. So, as you've been doing this over the years, have you found that it's like more or less than what you expected it to be, or different in certain ways? Like, how does it stack up to your expectations of what it was, of what it would be like?
Yeah, I think expectation-wise, I think I've just learned that, no matter what it is, I'm going to get whatever I put into it. And I know that's kind of like a bland answer, but it really is true, because I realize that when I get into a good routine, and like I have like my morning routine, I have like my afternoon follow-ups, like everything that I'm doing is my set routine that I've been working with for a while. I see that my return on it, maybe if it doesn't happen that week, that month, but the next thing you know, I'm like, oh wow, I got 4 or 5 deals in transaction because of what I did 3 months ago. So expectation wise, in the beginning, it was to where I was like, I'm going to make a Facebook post, say that I'm a realtor, and just sit back and wait for these people to give me a call, Yep. And then once I saw that didn't work out, and I obviously, speaking with my guy Jay, who's like a mentor, so I just kind of keeping in contact with him. He definitely keeps me talking to him. I try to talk to him like once a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, just to keep me back, give me a nice reality check. Because like once I think that I'm doing pretty decent, I'll give him a call, and I'm like, damn, like I'm not doing shit right now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I got 4 listings. I got my 5th one coming on. I'm working with this. He goes, oh, cool, yeah. I got 23 listings right now. I'm working by myself, and I'm like, okay, all right. I got a little bit of work to continue.
It's always good to have somebody like that in your life who just every time you see him, like, God damn, I'm not working hard enough.
Yeah.
I gotta hustle more.
And the good thing is that he doesn't do it in a malicious way or like a bragging way. He does it to
he's
where
just
it's
talking.
like, listen, you're doing it right. Just keep doing it, and then this is the next step that you'll be able to get to.
Next thing you know, you'll be getting hair in funny places and talking to girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, how much time, like a week, do you think you spend on this? Because, like, just I know from my end, like I have a 40-hour-a-week job plus the podcast, and it takes up a lot of time, and it's, I'm still struggling to find the right balance for my home life versus work life, and now this, which is a hobby, but it is something I'm taking seriously as if it is a business. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to build something. Yeah. So, like, do you find that it eats up a lot more of your time than you maybe wanted to?
Definitely. And what you said is key about finding a balance, because I think I still haven't even found that balance. And I think the problem with me, and it kind of sounds like you may have the same problem, is just the work ethic, and just like my mind just has such a hard time of shutting off. And even like my girlfriend can say this as well too. Like we'll just be laying, like finally watching a movie, 10:45, 11 o'clock at night, whatever the case is, like, and my phone goes off, and I'm like, God damn it, and it's like I don't want to have that attitude, because I'm gonna answer it and I want to help these people out, and then it's like I just have to just accept the fact that I'm available 24/7. But
part of the gig.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to do though, and what you said is I am trying to find at least that balance, especially, with number one, obviously with my daughter, with my girlfriend, and she has 2 kids. So just when we're trying to spend that time together, like I'm realizing that if I'm not present because I'm thinking about this or I'm talking on my phone, and they can see that and they take that in right away, and it's like I'm not fully present and I'm not fully there. So I'm still trying to find it, because hour wise I couldn't even put in the amount of hours I put in, only because it's just so sporadic and it's so all over the place. And even when I'm at the gym and I'm texting and I'm setting up appointments and following up with something from someone else who called me, or this person is calling, they need to get answered right away. So there's never a time to where it's just like,
Yeah, it's tough, man. I'll be honest, just I'm gonna keep it 100 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got called out recently for, spending putting too much of my focus on this and neglecting some other things in my life that, are definitely take priority.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a reality check that I needed.
Sure.
Because I love doing this. Like, it's just something I found where I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if you have to put your priorities in the list, family comes first.
Right.
Every time.
Yeah.
Like, there's no choice. There's no question.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's how it is, and that's how it's going to be. And it's up to me to either, something's going to have to slow down somewhere else so we can make it work where it needs to.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And even with not so much even having someone say something to me, but I even saw it too.
Shout out to my wife, because she's the most patient woman I've ever met.
That's all.
I'm not the easiest person to deal with. I'll admit that. And
but that's awesome that she's able to, I'm sure she said it in a way to where it wasn't so much of like an argument. It was more so just like you said. It's like, damn, like.
Nah, she was honest. She said it straight up.
Yeah.
I got a little defensive, but that's because I knew I was wrong.
Right.
So, she was right, I was wrong. What are you going to say?
Of course, yeah. And I can even relate to it too, because there was a time where I was actually down at the shore. I've been at the shore maybe twice this whole summer, and one of the times I was down there, I was with my girlfriend and all the kids, and I'm on my computer and I'm working on putting in an offer because I need to submit this offer. I'm working on finishing up this one thing, and I'm outside and I look up. And, like, they're having a ball. They're in, like, the jacuzzi. She's over there hanging out, taking pictures of them, laughing and stuff. And I'm, like, over in the corner like an asshole on my computer. And, like, I was like, screw this. I was like, I did what I did, shut my computer. I was like, I'm not looking at my phone. Fuck it. Let me just be here and hang out with you guys. And I had a, great rest of the day.
How old's your daughter now?
She is 7. She's going to be 8 in about 2 weeks.
Oh, nice. Yeah, my son's 8.
Yeah.
That's a whole life I got thrust into. It changes everything.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, man.
Changed my whole world.
And that age, I'm sure man, at least she's 8 going on 18. So the level of maturity is just, it's crazy. And I think it's like the times that we're growing up in now and how it's different, and you got all this. It's just it's an adjustment for sure.
I think it's less about the times, it's more about the kid,
Yeah.
My son, he's 8 going on 7.
Mm-hmm.
He's just,
okay
he's a little boy.
Sure.
He's doing everything you would expect a little boy to do. Like,
yeah.
He's not growing up too fast.
I got you.
I mean, I'm watching him grow, and it's
sure.
It's weird to see him like, oh wow, you have like a man's haircut. That's weird.
Yeah.
But then, we're still sitting here playing, Nintendo Switch together.
Sure.
Like a couple of little kids.
And you know what? I do agree with that. And I think the times have a certain effect on certain things of a child's life and growing up and stuff. But I do think I agree that it's almost case by case, because the things that my daughter has dealt with over the last 5 years or so have affected her in a different way. Mm-hmm. That maybe, let's say, like my girlfriend's kids have been affected on what they've gone through. And it shows. It definitely shows in the kid by kid case.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just how they've handled certain things and how it's affected their own, personal lives and stuff.
It's an interesting situation, because that's my situation now,
sure.
where you're with someone who has kids from another relationship.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough that it's weird to say it. I was lucky enough that I had a stepdad.
Sure.
Like, my parents were split up when I was 3.
Okay.
And I spent more time with my stepdad, I think, over the years than I ever did with my biological father.
Okay.
But it really, I was lucky enough that I had such a good stepfather as I do. I look at him now more as my real father.
Sure.
And he really gave me a good roadmap as to how to deal with certain things. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying he was perfect because nobody's fucking perfect.
Right.
But I watched him behave like the way a man should behave.
Right.
He did the right thing when it came down to it. He had to make hard choices sometimes, and he really showed me what it is to be a father and actually step up in a situation where you're dealing with someone else's children.
Sure.
Because he loved me and my sister like we were his own.
Yeah.
And that's I was very lucky to have that. But it's a hard situation, man.
Yeah.
Because I'm in it now, and I realize, like, wow, like I got to take my hat off to him because
Right.
I'm dealing with stuff where I'm like, holy shit, I did this to him.
Yeah.
When I was this age.
Yeah. And it's crazy too that you said that, because I had the same, maybe not as, maybe, I mean, I look at it as a positive now, but I went through divorce as well too. It was a little bit later on in my life. So I was going into high school. So what's that, like 12, right? 13?
Going into high school?
Yeah, going into freshman year in
Like
high school.
14, 15.
Okay. So I have a vivid memory of everything. I kind of knew, I think my parents were getting divorced way before that, but it actually happened around then. And the divorce was just a terrible divorce. So on all ends of it. So I lived through something to where I was like, all right, I don't want her to deal with this and don't want her to. Now there's things that I've accepted that are out of my control that no matter what, they're going to happen the way that they happen. And I kind of just control what I can control and just, focus on that. And I think we're at a point now where she sees what she needs to see and understands, everything that's going on. But the same thing too, even with my girlfriend's kids, and not that there's not any issues on like the parenting side or anything like that, but I approach it with that same thought where I don't want them to have to feel any type of like, awkwardness. Like I'm just, I'm here. Like let's have some fun together. Let's get to know each other. Like that's all I'm here for. I'm not looking to,
Well, I'm sure as a kid, their father is still in their life.
Yes, yeah,
Well,
actively.
good.
So
that's always good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you gotta keep it civil too with them. Like everything's gotta be above board.
Yeah,
Because otherwise, like I've been through that drama too. Like
Right.
as a kid and as an adult.
Right.
Like you gotta put all the emotions aside. Like, listen, this is about the kid now.
right.
Like we don't have to like each other, but we gotta keep it civil.
Yeah, I actually haven't personally met him yet, and I even talked to my girlfriend. Like, I would have liked to have met him prior to meeting his kids. It just life happens; it didn't happen that way. And I respect it. And whenever we do, meet, it, we'll have whatever conversation we need to have then. But
Yeah, it's all peace.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
But one of the things that I've been really talking about a lot is when you're raising kids, something that seems to be the most impactful on their growth as they eventually grow into adults is you want to teach them how to have a healthy relationship. So a kid is basically going to reenact what you're showing them, whether or not you realize you're showing them.
Yeah.
They're watching even when you don't think they are. And one of the most important things you could do for a kid's life in their relationships is to show them how to treat a partner and how to be treated by one. Like you have a daughter, the best thing you do for her is show her how a man should treat a woman. Show her the right way.
Sure.
And that's something she's going to learn from you, and she's going to internalize that. And it's not that, it's not that direct and out in the open, but it's
Right.
something that is hugely, hugely important.
Yeah.
Like a father in a girl's life is going to affect every relationship she's going to have for the rest of her life.
Yeah, I can't agree anymore. Yeah.
It's like your father is the first person you meet. Like your mother is different because you literally came out of her.
Yeah, right.
So the first person you meet is your dad. And like that's your model for society and
Right.
how people are going to treat you,
Yeah.
especially if you're a girl and how you're going to find partners and men. You're going to look at how your dad treated your mom, and that's going to be your guideline. And it's a lot of it's subconscious. People spend thousands of dollars going to therapists to figure this stuff out. Like,
Yeah.
It's pretty simple, I think.
Right.
I mean, I'm not a therapist, so
No, of
I
course.
could be talking out of my
No,
ass.
I agree though. I agree 100%, and it's something that I try to do, and just like we talked about, or just like I was saying, like I try to realize I grew from situations, and I just try to focus on what I can control and how that's going to affect my daughter, and I try not focusing too much more on things that are obviously out of my control.
Smart.
And
That's smart.
And it was a process. It definitely took me a long time to get that mindset. But once I got to it, I'm like, all right, I feel as if I'm in at least in a position to where I'm comfortable with it. So,
all right. So before we get out of here, let's tell me a little bit about the podcast. Like, let's hear it, because I know I'm going to have your brother on in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But
so
you're the you were running the ship for a little while. There.
Yeah. I'll hype him up then real quick then. So no, it's me and my brother. It's the Perfected Podcast. It's something in the works that Chad had for a while. And everything has its place and time. It just wasn't that time for that podcast yet. You know, other things kind of came up. He has a clothing line, so everything kind of ties into it. He also does art and all this other kind of stuff. So finally, we fit in the podcast to where he was like, "Let's do it." He kind of made a deadline. I'm sure he'll tell the story about buying the equipment and all the kind of issues that we had with all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we started doing it, and we've gotten into a great, I think, rhythm, and we're learning every single week, and we're grateful for people like you, people like Sween, like you said, that have also been able to listen to things and able to kind of hear things and feel like we have, like, you know, we're part of like that community too, and just everyone just vibing off of each other, which is great. But we put it out every single Thursday, talk about different things, talk about different topics. Again, just kind of finding a rhythm right now, and just seeing what works and just getting comfortable with what we're doing and stuff. So,
all right,
it's a lot of fun. It's cool.
It is, dude. This is one of the most fun things that I've done in my day.
Yeah, definitely.
I've played in bands, and I played on stage in front of tens of people. No, I played some legit shows, but this I really like this. This is a good thing, and it's easy to get addicted to doing this, you know?
Absolutely.
But also you start seeing a lot of people start and then fall off.
Right.
So it's a lot of work. It's a hustle. It's a grind. But you gotta, if you love it, it's easy. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
So let's shout out to Chad. Shout out to Mike Sweeney. Shout out to Tom Zappia and Alex Nicholas.
Yes.
Over Keep It Basement Podcast.
Absolutely.
Check them out.
Definitely.
They show us mad love. They're awesome dudes.
Yeah.
And hey, man, I'm looking forward to coming on your show.
Yeah,
talking with you
I'm
guys.
looking forward to it too. I appreciate you obviously having me. This is fun talking a little bit, and then obviously once we get you over there, hopefully with the renovations that are going on, we'll be not surrounded by tarp and things blowing around like we're going to be tomorrow for our recording. Or we'll see though. Hopefully everything will be set and good to go by the time you get over there.
Yeah, it's all good. You can't see it through a microphone.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Alec Lano. He's a listener, a guy. He reached out to me on Instagram.
Awesome.
He showed us some love. So shout out to him. Thanks for rocking with us, buddy.
Yeah.
And hopefully we give you more content you can appreciate.
Exactly.
So any listeners out there, if you're listening, obviously you know where to find us. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, everywhere you get your podcasts.
Awesome.
And if you have any questions, any comments, anything you want us to talk about on the show, suggestions, reach out to us at APodAmongstMen@gmail.com, or as always, hit us up on Twitter or Instagram. Probably Instagram because Twitter sucks, and I'm on Instagram all the time.
I don't even have a Twitter.
It's a cesspool, bro. I can't do it. I've had people reach out on Twitter, and I'm like, I didn't check it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yo, what the fuck took you so long? I don't do it, man. What are you going to tell you?
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, man, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming again.
Absolutely. Thank you again for having me.
All right, people, we'll talk to you next week. Peace.